Hey everyone, Restless Gardener. Actually got a decent day so I can come out and do a video. I am still going to do my series, but I think today it's nice enough out so I can show you some more plants that are blooming. The two phlox opalescents that I planted are blooming. Just planted these a few weeks ago. They look really nice. I love the, well, quote unquote, the opalescent quality of the blooms. They almost glow. I was just up top inspecting things in the rain garden. It's not a place I go to normally, but I'm going to take you guys up there because it's really just meant to be a wild area, to be quite honest with you. Let's take a look at the gorgeous Endless Summer Twist and Shout lace cap hydrangeas, though. Those beautiful blue flowers. I just love them against the pink of the stackies. So pretty. We also have some water slide hostas in there, some hosta wiggles and swiggles. If I can zoom in back there. Not easy to see. These hydrangeas kind of had a tendency to take over everything. There's even a poor heuchera back there. That's a heuchera caramel that obviously doesn't get very caramel because it doesn't get any sun. Anyway, let's go check the rain garden out. Pretty Durvella. What is with that camera lens? Everything's looking a little washed out. So let's try that again. I don't know what happens. Sometimes this, I don't know if it's my gimbal or if it's the phone. Just the lighting gets funky. But anyway, this is a Kodiak orange Durvella. It's blooming, little yellow flowers. There's a bee on it. And you can see why it's called Kodiak orange, because the new growth is pretty orange. They need to be trimmed. But I'm fine with them being a little wild for now. There's a really pretty orange new growth. And another bee in one of the flowers. So they're native and they do attract pollinators. So this large rain garden we had installed 2021, because although you can't see them, there are two houses beyond the woods up there that they're upslope from us, so we get a lot of runoff. So this should have been addressed 8 years ago, but at that time it was not evident that's where the water was coming from. So where to start? Okay, well, so we have three Thuya fluffies. That one's a little bit smaller because it was planted as a smaller container. They've put on some growth. They'll get about 5 to 10 feet wide, 5 feet tall. So they will create obviously some winter interest in here of gold, and they will fill in the space between those two hollies. Well, 3 hollies up there, because there's nothing blocking the view into our yard, and that's really my goal. Not just to try to control the runoff, but to get some privacy. I don't know about you all, but when I'm in my yard, I want to be totally private. Anyway, so there's 3 fluffies. We have 3 Arctic Sun dogwoods, which honestly do not look much in summer. But in the winter, I think I showed a video of them months ago. The stems are just gorgeous. So I think for the winter interest, I want to plant another evergreen that's blue so that it will really contrast against the corally orange yellow of the stems. I'm just not sure what I want. We had hibiscus, hardy hibiscus that had never came back. I don't understand it. I've never had any problems. So I don't know what's up with that. I don't really like losing plants. This is Pacora, golden ragwort, which is really pretty yellow flowers in the spring, and it does spread aggressively. I've actually had to pull a lot of it out because it started to grow around my Simply Sensational Calycanthus, and obviously I don't want that to happen. These are 3 brillantissimo red chokeberries, which are getting they're getting to their full stature. They're just very leggy, which I'm not sure I like that. So I might move these and replace them with something that's not quite so leggy. But anyway, they've grown and they're getting berries that the birds will eat. Get a picture of that out of the sun. So there's some berries right there. Let's take a walk this way. I don't like going on this side because it's so close to my neighbor's yard, but there's one of the hollies. There's 2 more chokeberries. Something suckering here, not sure what that is. These are Dryopteris marginalis wood fern. Another chokeberry. Another holly. These are female hollies. This is Hot Lips Turtlehead. They're not blooming yet. They'll bloom in a bit. They'll have pretty pink flowers. Everything on this side was planted for its wet tolerance because this side of the berm can be very wet in wet springs. This spring it was dry as a bone, of course. We have blue flag iris. They're done blooming. More chelone. Removed some Joe Pye weed from someplace else in the yard. That will bloom in August. Button bush, again for its wet site tolerance. Another button bush. You can see the blooms are done, but they get those cool little balls. Another holly. And some more Joe Pye weed we transplanted, which transplanted really, really well. I mean, it wasn't easy to get out of the ground, but it just took off, even though it was incredibly dry when we did that. So this is going to be a nice stand of Joe Pye weed. We also transplanted some goldenrod. That is goldenrod right there, which is just, it's looking okay. It'll recover. Also have some acaris that liked it here last year because it was very wet. We had a very dry spring, so it's not looking all that great. I have it protected because I'm not sure if something was eating it. It does look like now with the rain putting on some new growth, but it just did not like the dry spring we had this year. Some more goldenrod. Again, mostly everything is green right now because goldenrod will bloom in August as well. Another holly. Even ivory halo red twig dogwood. 2 of those, which are finally growing too. They tend to get eaten by the deer and get covered in leaf spot. We finally moved them up here so they can just do their thing. This one's finally getting big. This poor thing was almost like a stick because it kept getting eaten. Another calacanthus here. This is not a simply sensational. I think this is just one of the straight species. As you can see, there's pretty flowers. Another calacanthus. Getting some fruit. I didn't know they got fruit, but that's kind of cool. We had 4. Unfortunately, we lost one last spring because it was so wet. Not this past spring, last spring. Agastaki is incredibly large. It's over my head and I'm 5 feet 2. I don't remember what variety that is. Another calacanthus. Sorry, I'm a little close to them, trying to avoid getting hit by a tree. Heliopsis. Get a better look of the Agastache. I'm thinking because this one is darker, it's probably black adder. I did buy 1 or 2 of those several years ago, and again they got moved around quite a bit. And I think the one next to it, if I can get in there without sliding down the rain garden berm, is a little bit lighter in color, and I think that's a blue fortune. And again, there's some of that pachyra with some more wood ferns in there. We have, let me back up, some summer sweet. is getting ready to bloom. There's 3 of them, interspersed with a lot of coneflowers that are starting to bloom. We moved these from another area of our yard because they just so readily self-seed. They're beautiful, but they will take over, and I didn't want that to happen. So you can see that beautiful color. Some pinks, some oranges. There's lots of them here. I think there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And really that probably was originally, oh, and there's another one in the back there that's not blooming yet. But that was probably from an original of 4 plants. Oh gosh, there's another one, 13. That's how quickly they spread. And how floriferous they are. There's another summer sweet and some dancing flames sneezeweed, which again, well, that's another late bloomer that gets pretty orange flowers. 7 of those. And I'm not sure why this one is looking so pathetic. Heavy metal panicum, looking great this year. Some shamrock ilexes just for some wintergreen interest, evergreen interest. And I have 2 very heavy gold ilexes, winter berries, and you can see the berries are starting to form on there. Another one over here. So those are being pollinated by a Mr. Poppins that we have further down in our yard, but as long as they're within, I think it's 50 or 75 feet, they will pollinate. And we have here 3 groundhog chokeberries that will be low and spreading, and if any runoff comes through here, they will kind of slow down any erosion once they get bigger, obviously. Let's see, did I miss anything? I'm standing next to another female holly. So 3 of these hollies bloom or get red berries, and I think it's either this one or the one in the back there gets gold berries, which is nice. I didn't think Ilex opaca came in cultivars, but I guess they do because that one gets gold berries. See if I can get out of here without killing myself. Again, I think I showed you this, some more goldenrod. That's a spice bush we left. Did not have that removed. And I almost hate showing this because it's just not doing what it was intended to do. This is the meadow we had seeded. This was pretty much ash trees that had died and a lot of invasive vines. We left trees that were not invasive and did plant some ourselves. You can see that flash of red over there is a flamethrower red bud. We have a couple of little prospect witch hazels in there. And again, a meadow. We moved some 9-barks back there too, just the straight species that we had planted someplace else. And you can see the infiltration trench, but I just don't see, other than these grasses, which is the cover crop, I just don't see anything that was seeded, which is irritating, frustrating, disappointing. Guy's supposed to come back and evaluate. Not sure what he's going to do. But anyway, just wanted to do that quick tour of my rain garden. Oh, here's 3 gingerwine 9-barks. I don't think I showed them. These have a tendency to get eaten by deer and unfortunately never get to their full, like, I don't know, it's supposed to be 6 to 8 feet tall and wide. So you can see where the deer have nipped off the tops there. At least I think you can see that on camera. That one, several. I mean, they're definitely bigger than they were when we planted them, but they've been in the ground now since, I want to say 2020. I feel like they should be bigger, but we'll see. So that is a large rain garden. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up, and I will see you in the next one. Bye. Just another quick little note to replace those hardy hibiscus that did not come back, that I don't think are ever going to come back. We bought this Edge of Night, no, Summerific Holy Grail perennial hardy hibiscus, and we're going to put it up there. This is what it looks like. It's gorgeous. Dark foliage and red flowers. I like the dark foliage hibiscus. My husband likes the red flower hibiscus. I prefer the big, like, kind of whitish pink flowers, but so we both compromised and got this one. I should have bought two because they were so cheap. You can see how cheap that was. $10.99. I mean, the container's not huge, but the plant is big and healthy. And I did have several others left. This was an impulse buy, as is usually the case. So we'll probably have to get a couple more to replace those two up there that died. But I don't know. I think it was a good buy to replace those two, so that's what we're going to do.